government will in the next few days begin full implementation of a program that will make it mandatory for every individual to own a unique tax identification number. That's TIN. Without it, you won't be able to access your own bank account, do mobile money, register a vehicle, or even file a case in court, we understand, if your rights are abused. With this deadline approaching, how well do you know about the TIN? Do you have one? Let's get all the answers to your questions on the TIN right here on the pause for you. We have officials of the GRA to help us understand these and how to obtain your individual TIN number. My guest in the studio are Bobie Ansah, Bobie is Assistant Commissioner, Communications and Public Affairs. Thank you very much, sir, for coming.
Thank you.
And I also have Mr. Lawrence here.
Yeah.
Sir, can you tell us your position at the GRA?
I'm a Principal Revenue Officer.
Principal Revenue Officer.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Lawrence here is a Principal Revenue Officer, and they're going to help us understand the TIN. So first of all, I'm going to start with you, sir. So far, would you say you're making the necessary gains that you wanted to make with the initial announcement for people to get on the TIN?
Before I come to that, let me make a correction. You did say in your intro that government is about to start implementing. We have
already been implementing
the TIN. You remember we started full implementation 1st April 2018. And therefore the issue of it is not now that we are going to. Yes, we have made some headway in terms of the number of people who have registered, but a lot of people are also outside the TIN now, and we want all of them to register. Okay. Let me say that the TIN is a unique number which is given to individuals by GRA, and it is for purposes of identification. Okay. So that when you transact tax business with GRA, for example, you pay your tax, it can be credited to you. It will also enable us capture the economic transactions of people.
I think we're going a bit fast. Let's start from the basics, Mr. Bobie. Let's start from the very basics. I know people who don't understand what's happening at all. All they know is that we're being asked to get a TIN. So let's quickly go to the Registrar General. Let's quickly go to the Registrar General. Let's get a TIN. Let's start from the very basics. If I'm an individual, I need to get a TIN. First of all, what do I have to do?
What you have to do is very simple. Okay. Go to a GRA office where you are nearer you. Okay. You get the form, the application, the 10 forms. You complete the form. Yeah. And then you attach one of the following IDs I will talk about. A driver's license, a voter's ID card, the national ID, or the bio section of your passport. You do a colored photocopy
of those documents.
Yes. Okay. And you attach to the application form. You submit, and then it is processed for you. Okay.
That's all you do. And it's taking people how long to do this?
Let me say that GRA cannot administer taxes on its own. I mean, firms and people will say whatever. We always operate within the law. And this is the law which empowers the Commissioner General to administer the taxpayer identification number. Okay. And the law is saying that the Commissioner General, that's the position of the law, the Commissioner General may issue a taxpayer identification number to an applicant within 21 days of receiving an application. Okay. So it is within 21 days. Okay. But to encourage people, we have instructed all our officers that they should do it within 72 hours. That is 3 days. Okay. So legally, we are supposed to do it, but you know, we don't want a situation where people will submit their applications, they will go and come, that and come.
Okay.
But the position of the law is that it should be within 21 days.
21 days. Okay. So first of all, you go to any GRA office, you get the document, you fill it. He told you all the identification documents that you can add your voter's ID card, driving license, etc. A colored photocopy. You do that and you put it together and you send it to the GRA. They're asking their officials to work within 3 days for you to get it, but the law says 21 days. So I hope that we get that quite clear. Now we understand there is a 1st December date within which people should get it. So I was in the office and my colleague came and said she has the form. She has the form and she's asking who wants the form. And I'm thinking, okay. And then they said, well, 1st December. So if you don't have it, 1st December. So I'm wondering, what is this 1st December about? Mr. Lawrence, can you help us?
Yeah. Just before I respond to your question, one other way of applying is to visit our website.
Okay.
When you go to our website, www.gra.gov.gh,
okay,
you have the TIN application form there. You can just download it.
Okay.
So instead of you driving to the GRA office
to
pick an application form, you just go to the website, download the application form, and then you just complete it. It's a very simple form.
Can you fill it online?
You could download, fill it, and complete, and then scan
and send.
That is it.
And send to who?
Oh, there's an official email.
Oh wow.
Okay. You can do that, but
you don't have the official email at the moment.
No, we should be able to give you by close of the program.
Okay.
But you must do together with all accompanying documents,
okay,
the photocopy of all that for it to be processed and completed.
Okay.
So just to respond to your substantive question, you know, the Revenue Administration Act is the law that regulates the issuance of taxpayer identification number. This law was passed somewhere in August 2016 and took effect from January 2017. Okay. And so the law itself for the rollout of TIN is effective 1st January 2017. Yeah. Okay. We've done a lot of workshops, training. We met all the stakeholders, met the media, and did a lot of training on this very TIN provision. Okay. So from 1st January 2017, the full implementation of the TIN started. You know, but most of the institutions that were listed in the Act, for instance, the Registrar General's Department, the Controller and Accountant General's Department, the courts, DVLA, and so on and so on, which were specifically mentioned in the Act, requested that, well, they needed some time to adjust their to change their systems and all that. So from then, Commissioner General issued 1st January 2018 as the full dates for the implementation of the TIN provision. And so he's expecting that by 1st January 2018, all persons, including the institutions that are listed in the first schedule, should be able to configure their systems to conform with the TIN provision. Okay, so 1st December? No, that's 1st April 2018. Okay. We are now in November. Right. So it has started long ago. Okay. It started long ago. The rollout has started long ago. We've done all the media. We met the media encounter. We did. We met all the stakeholders. You didn't meet me though. But my boss met you. My boss was here on several occasions. Okay. Right? So point is, what is this 1st December thing about? Is it a deadline? If you're not able to obtain a TIN number by 1st December, will you have issues accessing your bank account, for example? We would want to believe that the institutions that are specifically mentioned in the law, there's pressure on them to start full implementation. Okay. So the DVLA, the banks, the courts, the registrar of cooperatives, the lands commission, and so there's pressure on them to start full implementation. In matter of fact, GRA is mounting that pressure. So the best they could do is to issue their own deadline to their clients that, look, there's pressure on us to start full implementation. And I think that some of these dates are coming from those institutions. So if these things do not happen, but I mean, a lot of people have said it's unrealistic. 1st December, that's next week.
for everybody in the country to have a tin. I have a tin. My grandmother doesn't have a tin. My mother doesn't have a tin. So a lot of people have said that, first of all, there is a likelihood that you create a chaotic situation, especially at the GRA offices. So you have a lot of people coming to the GRA offices and stampeding their way through because everybody wants to beat the deadline. What is the GRA going to do about a situation like this?
Well, let me say that initially, when we started the full implementation, as we have stated, 1st April 2018, people got the impression that after 1st April 2018, GRA had closed the door to registration. That is never the case.
Okay.
Registration is still ongoing. We'll continue to register people. But you see, there's a problem in our country. You give a deadline, people will not want to.
Everybody's waiting for last minute.
Last minute. That is the problem
so
we
I'm
are
sure
having now.
I'm sure you factored that into your plan. The last minute Ghanaian
like
attitude.
a very important thing as voting, they open the door for you to register. People wait till so we are appealing to Ghanaians that the doors of GRA, as far as tin registration is concerned, we are open, and our officers are working even on weekends to make sure that if there is a backlog, they will clear. So I think what the banks are doing is to encourage people to register and get the tin. If you go to any of our offices at the Braka, wherever in Accra, before we came here, and even yesterday, 3 days ago, I started calling the what is happening. And when you go, it will be done for so I am a little bit surprised about people talking about
because
we don't envisage any chaotic situation.
It's the same thing you said about how Ghanaians don't like to beat deadline and would like to do it, to do the last minute thing. This is an attitude problem that we've discovered, and so it means that it must probably have been integrated into the plan to roll this out. So, again, help us clarify this. It is not true that by 1st December, if you don't have a tin, you cannot, apart from the pressure being brought to bear on the institutions you mentioned, it is not true that by December 1st, if you don't have a tin, you cannot access some of these services.
Let me say that the law requires certain institutions to request for tin before they transact business with you.
Okay.
And I said from the beginning that DRA always operates with the law. Let me mention the institution. That is GRA ourselves, Controller and Accountant General Department, Registrar General's Department.
And this is the Registrar General Department. Is that where people register for marriages? Yes. So if you don't have a tin number, you can't marry.
If you want to register your business, if you want to register your business, it's not about me.
Okay, no, hold on. Let me just get this clear so that now this is interesting. Let me just get this clear. Okay, so I have the list here, the list of organizations or institutions that are required to insist that you provide a tin before they can deal with you. Now, we've gone through the Ghana Revenue Authority, the Controller and Accountant General Department, if you want to register a company. In fact, the Controller and Accountant General Department, I've seen people registering marriages there, no?
Controller and Accountant, you don't register marriage. When you go you've done a contract for government,
so that's for businesses.
Yes.
But the Registrar General's Department, don't they register marriages?
When you are going to register your business, you are supposed to produce.
But not marriages.
I think I have clarified that it's not
but
about
not marriages.
Marriage.
Okay.
It is not about
okay, so
marriage.
If you want to marry, go ahead and marry, even if you don't have a tin. But please get a tin. Okay. So I'm going to help you to go through the list for you. The Registrar of Cooperatives, the Lands Commission. So if you want to register your land,
that is it.
You need a tin.
Absolutely.
If you have any transaction at the Lands Commission, you need a tin. Okay. The Immigration Service, which is where the passport comes in. Let's see if we could give you the list whilst I go through them here on the camera. So, the Registrar for Cooperatives, the Lands Commission. If you have land, you want to register it, anything you need to do at the Lands Commission, you need a tin. The Immigration Service, your passport, all of those documents, you need a tin. The Passport Office, you need a tin. The DVLA, you need a tin. If you're going to court, and this is the part that a lot of people have said is interesting. Now, if somebody abused me and I went to the court, I need a tin.
That is what the law is saying.
Okay, well, I'll come back to that. The ministries, departments, and agencies, if you need to go in there to ask for anything, to conduct any business, you need a tin. The metropolitan, municipal, and the district assemblies, you need a tin. Government, subdivisions of government and public institutions that are not listed above. So it means that they've listed some. There are some that have not been listed. But everybody, every organization that's under government of Ghana that will work with you, you require a tin to be able to work with them. Persons required to withhold tax under the Income Tax Act 2015. It goes on, and Mr. Lawrence is nodding. I'm not sure why. Kindly note it. I'll come back to you so you tell us why you're nodding. Banks, insurance companies, and other financial institutions, so like the DKMs and all of those, you need a tin to operate with them. That's pretty interesting. Manufacturing companies as well, you need a tin to be with them, to do business with them, and any other institution or person which the minister may, by regulations, prescribe. That is very interesting. But basically, these are the organizations. So and so it's quite clear, and it's quite I mean, whether you like it or not, you have to deal with these. If you need to deal with all these organizations, you need a tin. But the problem that people have is the 1st December. Let's go on the street and hear from people. When we come back, I still have the GRA officials here providing us with very valuable information. We'll continue, we'll take it up from there and wrap up.
Have you heard about it at all?
Yeah, I've heard about it though.
Do you know how to get one?
Yeah, I was told to, if you want one, maybe you should go to JCB. Yeah, I heard something about it.
So when do you intend to get one?
Pardon?
How soon do you intend to get one?
Well, I'm not really sure.
Are you aware of the repercussions if you fail to get one?
Yeah, I've heard it. But not now. For now, I have some things I want to do, so maybe later.
Maybe later you get a tin.
Yeah.
Do you know what a tin is? T-I-N.
Yes, please.
What is it?
A tin. T-I-N. A tin, milk concours is a tin.
Do you know of the tax identification number?
Tax identification number. Yeah, I've been seeing drinks with some stickers on them. Yeah.
So you don't know that there is this identity number that you are supposed to register for in order that will help you to have a bank account, among other things?
No idea. I have no idea.
You've not heard about it at all?
Heard of Ghana card, but then no identity or anything. I don't know of anything.
So this is the first time you're hearing of the tin?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. You know what a tin is?
No, I don't know.
It's a tax identification number. Have you heard about that?
No, I've not heard anything about that.
Well, if you're like these people who don't know anything about tin, when you go to your bank, they'll tell you. I'm sure when you go to the bank to take your money and they say you can't take the money because you need a tin, you probably run to the GRA. But is it even fair? That's the question that all of you are asking. Because this is a new system that's been rolled out. So people think that, don't we require a little bit of time to be able to deal with it?
Gifty, I think that I am a little bit sad because people
don't know about it.
Yes.
It saddens you, right? And these are just 4 people. I'm sure that if it took like 100 people.
I think that we have done a lot of education on tin. Nevertheless, there's always room for improvement. So we are going to intensify the education because since January 2018 especially, we have been in your studio for quite a number of times. Not only here, your other radio and other networks.
So I believe that you're hoping
we will not relax.
I believe you're hoping that with these interventions, that when you can't do this, you can't do that, that when people people are faced with the reality of what they can do if they don't have a tin. I believe you're hoping this will push them to get the tin. But then again, it comes back to how fast, because 3 days, if I need money now, my mother is dying and I need money now from the bank. In fact, I can't even go to the hospital, we're told. I can't even go to the hospital. So if I need a tin and it's going to take me 3 days, by 3 days my mother would have been dead.
It's not. That's not the situation. You know, the law that we work with, we call strict interpretation of the law, and we have purposive interpretation. So,
but the nurse who is already overwhelmed, who is already angry and already
Gifty, let me say no.
I'm saying that you're saying that the spirit and the letter, but the people who are implementing this, the bank official who is protecting his job, will not do anything, cannot do it. He'll just say, well, I have these rules and I have to obey.
No, because you mentioned hospital, let me clarify that nothing of that sort is in the law. We are not saying that if you don't have a thing, you cannot go to hospital. No, please. It is not one of the no.
Okay.
Not at all. The institutions you mentioned, health is I mean. So,
yes, but the institutions do not mention. But it goes on to say at the bottom that government. It says what? Any other institution or person. No, hold on. I'm looking for something. I found it somewhere here. It says it sort of generalizes it so that it says all other.
That's the last one.
No, there's another one. It says all other institutions that have not been stated.
Yeah, that's the last one. That's number 16.
Okay, up there.
No, we are doing education. That's why I want to. Please, let's not anybody get the idea that if you don't have a thing, you can't go to.
You can't go.
No,
that's not.
That's not a
okay.
Never.
Very
never.
well. What
yes.
people want to
let's
know, I think, right now, is whether there will be enough time.
These
for
are
them
the institutions we have to talk about,
okay.
and as I also. Just go to any GRA office or go online, and then
which is what I'm coming to. People, you see that we're about what 30 million people. If your GRA offices across the country are able to deal with it, what do you think of the option about going to the people rather than waiting for the people to come to you? Are you looking at the option of setting up, small tin issuance centers, for example, in the markets? Like one of our camera technicians here was saying that he's always behind the camera. By the time he's closing, your offices must have closed. Are you going to consider the option of bringing your offices, for example, to organizations? So we have a lot of people here, to organizations, to marketplaces, to centers for people to register easily. Is that a possibility? Should we go to training?
No, okay.
So yeah,
I'll still come back to you for
I think that government is quite interested in this policy, for which reason the NABCO project is in. GRA is receiving about 10,000 officials to support GRA in this regard.
The issuance.
So certainly GRA is thinking of
so is this a possibility?
Making sure that all Ghanaians are registered.
Okay.
Initially, when this implementation started in April, or let's say January 2017, we had just very few registration centers. The registration centers are just we could find them in Accra, Takoradi, and Kumasi. Okay. That's all, and that was the initial time. But there's a rollout now. Every office across the length and breadth of this country, we have a team registration center.
Okay.
So unlike before, where all the application would have to be sent to Accra or Kumasi or Takoradi, now all our offices.
But this is still a possibility, isn't it?
Oh,
since you're head of communication, I believe that this will.
You see,
this will not bring you an invoice to pay us for consultation.
With regard to institutions like here, right from the word go, when we started the education, we did say that the employees must not leave. They don't have to leave the office.
Okay.
What you have to do, Joy, you know where you transact your tax business. Let the person, is it your accountant or HR, whoever conducts your tax business, he knows the number of employees with Joy. Okay. He will come to GRA. I have 10 employees, 100 employees.
And then you register all of them.
Give you the forms. You have to. He will send them to you here. You complete the forms, attach the necessary IDs are made, and then he will send to GRA, and it will be processed for. Okay. That is the idea.
So that's certainly an option, except that you may have to perhaps intensify it a little bit more and take it to other places.
And with the coming into with the employment of NABCO people, we are going to use them. You see, the point is that our equipment or the system are in the offices. So what we will do is that we will deploy them to our community, the market, workplaces, and then they will come and help with the
Register
registration. We take them to the offices and then
later.
yes.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea. So don't panic. Don't panic. It's not a panic situation, but you do need to get a tin. Make life easy for yourself. I need to wrap up for sports. Baba is tapping behind the camera, and I'm ready, afraid of her wrath. But I've been having this conversation. It looks like we need a lot more time to talk about this, because I was very, very interested to find out what this tin is going to be used and how beneficial will it be for us. But we don't have that time right now. But thank you so much for coming. I've been here in the studio with Mr. Kwesi Ansah Bobie Ansah. Kwesi Bobie Ansah is Assistant Commissioner in charge of Communication and Public Affairs at the GRA. Also here is Lawrence Hochonyame. Hochonyame.
Yeah.
Hochonyame. Lawrence Hochonyame is a principal officer, is also in charge of training and development at the GRA. It's so good to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And I believe that you have some explanation as to what to do with the tin going forward.